the ultimate game of consequence. So when you've only got 7 players on the field, the smallest mistake or the smallest piece of brilliance can turn a whole weekend just like that.
It's fantastic to watch as well, you know, like you don't have to know anything about rugby and you can sit and watch the sevens and enjoy it. And it's a 7-minute blowout for that half, you know, you just crack it out as hard as you can and then you roll around and you get another 7 minutes.
Yeah, I love the game of sevens. I love the openness about it. Obviously a full-size field, only 7 defenders. So many more opportunities to express yourself and, you know, find those gaps.
In 15s, you're typically given a job description and you go out and do that. So I was a loose forward, so you put your head in dark places and tackle as hard as you can for as long as you can. But, you know, sevens, I had the freedom to run off the ball and try and create a bit of space, and just really gave me a chance to showcase, you know, some of the other skills.
That's why we all started playing rugby, the love of it, playing in the backyard with our mates, and it's like sevens, there's a lot of space and you can just have fun and enjoy it.
And New Zealand have played marvellous, stylish sevens rugby.
I never lost a sevens series, I'll be honest, and we're one of the first teams to have the Commonwealth Games gold. That was the pinnacle then, the World Series plus the World Cup. So now the landscape has changed. Literally 5 or 6 teams can win a tournament any different weekend. I think that's the beauty of sevens. You know, make one mistake, you can get tipped up.
Now collisions are a lot bigger. You've got guys that are over 100 kgs that are as quick as, you know, your everyday back. So in terms of the athletes that are playing the game now, it's a different dynamic.
It used to be if you just had awesome repeated speed, you'd do really well, but I think there's so many rucks now and it's so physical. When you take the ball into a ruck, you've got to be able to keep it. You've got to be able to do all the skills. You've got to be able to, I suppose, tackle big guys that play for Kenya and South Africa.
Kelly Brazier scores for New Zealand.
The demands are massive. The speed the game's played at, the pace of some of the girls is just unreal. So I think whether it doesn't really matter what sport you've played, whether it's the athletics, hockey, soccer, there's all things that relate to sevens.
Seen other countries do it. The United States is probably a prime example where they've got guys coming from American football, from the Olympic sprinting program. I mean, one particular guy, Carlin Isles, was 2 or 3 spots away from going to the Olympic Games in Rio as a sprinter. Didn't make it and came back and played sevens and it was, you know, the top try scorer in the last couple of seasons.
We're looking for athletes. So finding some athletes with the athletic profile that we're after, you know, netballers or touch players or, you know, volleyball or water polo, you know, so I think if we get too fixated and too narrow-minded that we just have to look at rugby, you know, we're going to miss some talent. There's huge opportunity in sevens for these other sports.
So it's a new era for rugby sevens, and this could be our new breed of stars. 500 athletes under the age of 22 applied, and just 96 were chosen, all from different sporting backgrounds and different parts of the country. 48 young men and 48 young women given the opportunity to develop their skills at Red Bull Ignite 7, a 4-day camp of training, teaching and testing, finishing with a tournament shown live on Sky Sport. But the real prize is 6 places in the All Black Sevens and Blackfern Sevens national development camps. And the pathway is very real. Last year's event has already produced 4 New Zealand players.
Oh, I'm nervous, but I'm excited. I can't wait to get into it. Meeting the girls, the coaches, so yeah, I'm keen.
I was born and raised in Masterton in the Warapa. My dad was a rugby player, he played for Fiji, so I'm just giving rugby a go. I'm actually a soccer player. I've been playing soccer for most of my life, but I only switched to rugby like 3 years ago, so yeah, just thought this was a good opportunity for me.
Every opportunity you get, just grab it with 2 hands. Don't be scared, just have courage. Something's new, yes, just go out there and have fun.
So what a prize and what an opportunity. And what an array of backgrounds, from surf lifesaving to water polo.
My strength is I'm quick and I have good reflexes. With flags, you have to have a lot of upper body strength because you have to be able to get up and move real quick. I think that's real good for sevens because you have to be able to move real quick, get off the ground if you've been tackled.
Ideal skill set you'd have for a water polo player would be strong legs, good level of fitness, so they swim up and down the pool constantly. It's quite physical, quite hands-on, so I guess it's similar to rugby in that respect.
Among the 96 hopefuls is former professional netballer Grace Kukatai. She's brand new to rugby and has turned down a contract with the Northern Mystics for a shot at becoming a Black Ferns Sevens player, but more importantly, in a bid to find a better balance in her life.
For me, netball was my world, so I just dedicated my whole life to netball, and I think it almost had the negative outcome from what I actually wanted from it. I just, narrowed in on, tunnel vision on one goal, and I sort of lost friendships and relationships because I didn't really care too much about everything else. It was just netball. It had a mental toll on me, I think. And just taking a step back and being able to revisit my whole life, I've just kind of explored new things, sevens, university, started a new business. It's just kind of all fallen into place. I've struggled with mental health in the past, and it's the first time in my life I'm not so unhappy anymore, which is really, really nice.
A few sevens games with Ponsonby and she's already made the Auckland team. And now Red Bull Ignite 7 is an opportunity to get in front of national selectors.
I'm really excited, but I'm also really nervous, only because I feel like I'm putting myself out there on a stage. I've made such a drastic decision to not play netball that I'm sort of feel like I have a microscope on myself, and others may as well. But also, I love a challenge. So for me, it was something so challenging, very new, lots of new skills and tactical play to learn.
Well, Grace's talents aren't confined to the sports field. As well as studying at university with plans to join the police, she also helps her dad with his trucking company and has started her own business.
Dad's always driven trucks, so we've always been around it, machinery. He's always got us to mow the lawns out the back, and so I guess it's just something that you learn. So me and my partner really like the idea of being able to fit things around our sporting commitments. So yeah, we decided to just give it a go. Started off with our house lawnmower that we had at home, just a couple of lawns, and then we've grown our business. We've bought a few new lawnmowers, more clients every week, which is awesome. And it's just something we can do together, and we get people saying that they love their lawns, which is, it sounds silly, but we really enjoy it, and it makes us feel good.
And regardless of how Grace does at Red Bull Ignite 7, you can be certain she'll be smiling.
Netball and sport and sevens should be something you enjoy, and it should be a passion, I think. And when you lose sight of the passion and the enjoyment, you lose your ability to play well, perform well, be a good person as well. Dad always says if sport doesn't pull through for me, I can go drive trucks for him. He says it pays well, so I'll be able to nag him if it doesn't.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
The 96 players were split into 4 men's and 4 women's teams. Bolt, Inferno, Surge and Power will be coached by some of the best in the country. And it's not just about developing rugby skills. Educational and character-building sessions combined with team bonding are a big part of the camp. And coaches will be feeding back to PJ Williams and his team of selectors about what qualities their players are showing on and off the park.
So if you have a look at the individuals in your teams, 75% of them are 18 or under, because in 4 years' time they'll be 22, 23, prime picking for the Paris Olympics. So apart from winning the tournament, connecting with all your players, you're also helping us develop that Olympian or that contracted player down the track. Off the field, we're looking for leadership, character, are they competitive, and do they contribute to the team? 4 key precursors for those 2 teams.
PJ Williams loves rugby, family and chickens.
Bit quirky, my kids, will laugh and joke at some of the things I do and look at me funny. Right there, girls? So she's actually the head chicken. She'll follow you inside, she'll do anything because she's the head, she can do what she wants. I'm a very private person, and if you ask the rest of my family, they'll say that rugby, there's not much else outside of rugby. And my kids, I spend a lot of time with them, and I've made sure that I think time is the most important thing you can give anyone. Bounce the ball in and try and hit the stump. OK, okay, for a run out. Have a shot. Yeah, you run, Carter. So you run. Oh, well done. You know, one of the first things I tell my cricket kids is, once you finish the game, win or lose, the first thing you do is thank mum and dad for taking you. You know, if you can instill those values, then you'll get kids who will enjoy the game. So it is about enjoyment. Work, yes!
And when it comes to enjoyment in his day job, nothing beats finding the next 7-star.
We are looking to get that rare talent genetically or athletically to help us in our sport, because it is a tough sport. You've got to be fast, you've got to have good speed, good acceleration, you've got to be strong, and you've got to have endurance level that is second to none. It is the decathlon, you know, the rugby decathlon of the Olympics. Is he the right package? Has he got the character? Has he got the work ethic? What's his background? Where's he come from? And you just think, hopefully this is the one. You know, all of those things fall into line and there could be something magical out of it. The one guy that probably has done that for me in the last year has been a boy called William Warbrick.
I was raised in Kauri and Whakatane, went to Rotorua Boys, and I sort of struggled making the top team in my age. I didn't play first 15, I didn't play for the top 7s team.
No one knew anything about him. He turned up at Red Bull Ignite last year, got the MVP. We put him through basically a year with the All Black Sevens.
And within 2 or 3 weeks, you know, the senior players and the coaches, you know, seen straight away that not only was he able to run around and play sevens, but he was really fitting in off the field.
Clarkie pulled me aside, and then I thought he was going to tell me something to work on.
We had a yarn. We talked about how was he enjoying being in the team and being in the environment. He said he was loving it. I asked him if he was keen to hang around for a bit longer, and he said, yeah, I'd be keen. And I said, what about 2 years? So at that stage, he sort of choked up a wee touch.
When he told me, I initially wanted to have a little cry to myself, to be honest. He was talking to me and I was just nodding my head because I didn't know what to say at the time. He was trying to tell me all these things and I was just going like that.
If you'd seen him play last week before the first game, you know, and the tears on his face around getting out there and putting the jersey on for the first time were real.
We just finished our warm-up for our first game. We're heading back in the change room and sort of went there and grabbed the jersey, sort of threw it over my face. So it was covering my head. I was having a little moment to myself. Mum and Dad, they was actually in the grandstands. And it was sort of just like just wanted to play for them and sort of make them proud.
William Warbrick with a good start for New Zealand.
He's a good young man that is really passionate about playing for this team, and ultimately that's what we're looking for. We're thinking, well, we've got a real, opportunity to develop a world-class sevens player.
Now that for me is a success story. Never been ID'd, come to our tournament, we saw him, and straight away when I did see him, I thought this kid could be something special, and everything lined up, and he's made it. So things like that, that'll live for me forever. That I've had an opportunity to change that kid's life.
Now William Warbrick down the right-hand side. Warbrick will score a third.
18-year-old Joel Cobb is a trainee in the sports department at Sky TV. He's also a pretty handy rugby player. 2 seasons in the first 15 at Mount Albert Grammar, Auckland under-18s, and now Sevens aspirations to follow in the footsteps of the likes of William Warbrick.
It's definitely exciting watching all these people come through like William and Jacob Neepkins and everything, and you see them starting off at the Red Bull Ignite and then they're just blowing up and getting contracted into the All Black Sevens and everything, and it's a mean opportunity and real exciting.
Too late.
I was always really big into production at school and that, and I always kind of liked the process of editing videos, editing clips, and I just always kind of liked being around the camera, and I just thought it was always fun, and it doesn't even feel like a job, you're watching sport for a living.
Joel plays centre and wing in 15, so he'll be hoping to impress with his speed.
I think because I'm one of those smaller guys, I get to express myself a lot more on the sevens pitch, and I can work rate everything, just work rate. As long as you can keep moving, keep going, if you got a big engine, you'll be a good sevens player.
Day 2 at Red Bull Ignite 7 at Trusts Arena West Auckland was Combine Day, where our 96 athletes are fitted with heart rate and GPS sensors and put through a variety of physical and skills tests. For some, a day to shine, for others, a day to survive. Inspiration came courtesy of a visit from All Black Bowden Barrett.
perfectly fine to be nervous. I reckon testing day's the hardest day of the lot. Playing's the funnest part, training's easy, you know. Because it's such a tricky time, there's so much uncertainty about your future. You can get carried away about, you know, missing out selection or, you know, the outcome of the tournament or the game. Just trusting that you've done all the work you can up until this point and going out there and just enjoying the moment. So, yeah, not looking too far ahead because that is a good little opportunity you have here.
Barrett is indeed the perfect player to motivate these 96 hopefuls. Had it not been for Sevens, he might have slipped through the net.
I wasn't unsure whether to keep giving rugby a crack, so Sevens gave me a lifeline and an opportunity. I wasn't great at school. I didn't make the New Zealand secondary schools. I didn't lose faith or hope. You know, I tossed up whether to play Australian rules or not, but Clark Laidlaw at the time was the Taranaki Sevens coach and encouraged me to come along and try out for the Taranaki team, which from that national tournament I got selected to play for the New Zealand team. So I was very fortunate. If it wasn't for Sevens, I wouldn't be an All Black.
Bodie and his brothers were coming through school when I first arrived in New Zealand back in 2008, and I can still remember Titch. We were driving back to the hotel and he gave me a ring and said, "Oh, could you come back and I want to speak about one of your players." So we came back and said, "Oh, which player do you want to speak about?" He said, "Oh, Bowden Barrett." So I was like, "Oh, yeah, well, he's pretty good. He's fit, he's fast, he's got good skills, he's a great kid." And Titch selected him that night and put him in his squad, and I guess the rest is history.
Go! Speed and endurance are two of the main attributes being tested.
It's a bit rough having them go into the wind, I reckon.
A 40-metre head-to-head drag race, followed by the infamous Bronco test. Shuttles of 20, 40 and then 60 metres repeated 5 times. Anything close to or under 5 minutes is impressive. Richie McCaw had a personal best of 4:56.
We have done Broncos in the past with the All Blacks, and I'm around the early 4:20s. Yeah, it's something I pride myself on, is my fitness and being able to, you know, play 80 minutes every game in 15s. So, yeah, it's probably the speed testing. I never tested fast, or I still don't test fast, you know, when it comes to speed testing on the track or in the gym. But for some reason, when I get the boots on and I'm on the grass, I feel a bit quicker.
Remember, every single rep that we complete, we have to push ourselves harder to run the same speed. It's a very long test. Stay with it. Don't get lost in the mind game of it.
Set, go!
My score was 4:27. And for me, I really pride myself on my turns. Just getting off the mark quickly. That cuts down the time.
Go, baby. Go, baby. Keep pushing.
I kind of went out a bit too hard at the start, so I was kind of popping towards the end, but I'm pretty glad to get under the 5A.
It's only 5 minutes of work, so you just got to keep thinking of that and pacing yourself, and it shows them that you fight, that you're not afraid of hard work and can really dig something deep for you, for yourself, or for the team. And yeah, I think it really shows that you've got a lot of heart if you can really dig that out.
The first thing, Bodie, it's 100 metres long, because obviously in sevens you've got to go 100 metres at times. Then we tried to isolate the individual skills, so every player's got to be able to catch the ball above his head from a kickoff. He's obviously got to carry into contact. And then we've got half-back passes, but the half-back passes are probably, 9, 10 metres, and every player's got to do it from the ground. And then squaring up as a first receiver, but the pass is probably another 10 metres off both hands, and the last one is under pressure. Then just a little bit of fatigue stuff, which precedes some footwork stuff, so they've got to hit a bag, which is probably, 30 metres, which is a good distance to run to an outside ruck in sevens. Then get the ball one-on-one in 15 metres, full contact, you've got to score, because that's what the game's all about. And then it's time, so all should be done in maybe 43 seconds, which is a period of play in sevens, which, if you can score a try in 50 seconds, hold the ball 50, that's probably about it. Sevens, international sevens at the moment. Any questions?
Let's do it.
Into it.
Keep your feet.
Netballer Grace Kukutai scored really well in all the fitness tests, especially the Bronco, where she had the second fastest girls' time of 5 minutes. But the newbie Sevens player needed to prove to the coaches that she also had the ball skills.
That was the thing I was most nervous about, my skills, but I got to go twice since I went first. For me, it's just keeping my eye on the ball. With netball, like, I don't mind the high ball, like being aerial in the air. Catching a ball is quite natural for me, so that was one of the things I wasn't too nervous about. It was more the passing and stuff that was a bit scary. I've been pretty confident. Yeah, I don't think I'm like the best, but I don't think I'm the worst, so it's quite nice. Yeah, but no, learning heaps, and I'm just trying to put a bit of X factor on things to stand out a little bit, yeah.
Well, the skills test rates the players from 1 to 5 stars. Grace Kukutai scored a strong 4, while her surge captain, Renee Holmes, was one of only 7 to score a maximum 5.
Oh, we had the skills first, which was awesome, like really unexpected how hard it was. Looked a lot easier, but then by the last drill, legs were jelly, like, and everyone felt it. And then going to finish with the Bronco, that was really tough mentally, but our team got behind each other and we all pushed right to the end, and yeah, just so proud of everyone.
After the sprints, Bronco and strength testing in the gym, Renee Holmes finished 4th overall. Not bad for a girl who's relatively new to rugby.
I was actually a big soccer fan, like absolutely loved it. That's where my dreams and aspirations were. And one of my friends at school just said, hey, do you want to come along to a Sevens training? Like, I wasn't doing anything at the time, so I was like, why not? And I've just loved it ever since and haven't really looked back. So still pretty fresh, but yeah, learning it fast, which is good. As soon as I picked up rugby, it became my dream, because I obviously dreamt as being a football fan at first, but I definitely know that I've always wanted to be in the black jersey, representing my country, no matter what it was.
Holmes works part-time in a daycare in Hamilton and is also studying to be a PE teacher.
When they first come in and they come up to you just happy as, like, ready to have fun, yeah, always know how to put a smile on my face, those kids.
So Renee loves working with kids, and while it's her dream to make the Black Ferns Sevens, it's not the main reason she plays rugby.
Knowing that you've met more girls, like another family, like that's the cool thing about rugby, is you get like whānau from it, and they're all willing to work as hard as you want to for them, is like the best feeling, so it makes you want to go even harder, and that's why I enjoy it, yeah.
So after a massive day of testing, it was time for ice baths and recovery for our Red Bull Ignite 7 athletes, and an opportunity for the coaches of all 8 teams to feed back to PJ Williams about which players had impressed.
Surge, genuine leadership, character, contribution to the team.
Yeah, Grace Kukutai.
Yep. So just talking to Trevor, she benched through the roof better than Portia Woodman and some of those Black Ferns girls, so her upper body power is right up there. And she's had obviously a athletic background in a professional environment before, but yeah, that's pretty special.
She Bronco well, topped out your Bronco?
Yep.
Yeah. Who, from memory, who topped out in your Bronco?
Georgia Riley. Got a 4:59.
I think she beat Grace by 1.
So the power, you got Millie, Molly, Mania, Tanil and Kahu, some real strong contribution to your team, your character.
Molly, she was the one that put her hand up and got them all together, and what's impressive about her is that she's a cross-coder, so she's come from touch. So she's different, she's new to Sevens.
And she was very quick, you know, on field through that skill stuff. I haven't seen what her speed and stuff like that.
Moves well, she moves really well.
Moving, through the array.
Beautiful mover on the field.
So the guys that have stood out around game understanding, Tapaya and Manu Paya. So those two pretty special.
Tapaya and Manu have been in our high-performance New Zealand system, so both New Zealand Barbars, New Zealand schools, so you expect them to be pretty good rugby players. What I'd be really interested in there is their character and team contribution and leadership, given that they're high performance, so it'd be good to keep an eye on that throughout.
Very positive to date.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Tapaya, 39 seconds through that skill stuff, by far the fastest, and some other boys are doing 49, 10 seconds faster than some of those other boys through that stuff. That's pretty impressive, man, for a kid.
But Joel Cobb's shown some really good touches because he's played sevens. He's played a bit of sevens now, so some good things that you learn from just playing sevens.
And Oscar comes through quite highly in a lot of the testing today as well. And the thing that we are really interested in him is he's got some height. We're genuinely lacking height in our game in both men and women's. Got some issues around that, so he generally got some height and he's a winger, so we'll be really interested to see how he progresses.
Yeah, he's definitely green in a lot of his skills, but athletically he's awesome.
Yeah. So boys, Bolt.
Sheldon looked like he's green, but man, he was using some incredible footwork around.
What's real interesting about Sheldon, he's a dairy farmer.
Yeah.
I pulled him out of herd testing. He come in late. He's from Tararu College.
Yeah.
He's Māori immersion. He's someone that has never been through our system.
I like him already. Stop there, Peter. As soon as you met the Tararu, he sold me on him. Just put his name down.
But
I honestly think that kids like that, this is what this is all about.
So to give you an example in the game, he chased the 60-metre chase and pushed the guy out and scored wide. The very next kickoff, we made a break, and next minute he was the next supporting player and chased hard to see if he can get there on the chase, going the other way on a take, and he could have scored. That sort of stuff, like you said, that's the uncoachable stuff where he's got some efforts around him as well. So he's rough, but
3 of his speeds are in the top 10.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Patararu schoolboy Sheldon Himana spends much of his time working on a local dairy farm, and family and locals reckon he's got something special about him.
8 brothers and 5 sisters. He's pretty shy, really humble, well-mannered. Just ever since he was a little kid, he just had this talent that he just wanted to be on the field no matter what it was. I think Grant Fox was from here. So he's going to be our next Grant Fox, I suppose, maybe even better.
Family first, no matter what. Always play for my family. Always try and score for Mum. Yeah, whenever she smiles, I smile, so it's pretty good. And whenever I'm smiling, she's smiling, so we're pretty tight.
And Mum definitely would have been smiling watching her boy finish 6th fastest in the 40-metre sprint. A pretty respectable time too in the Bronco for an 18-year-old who says his only fitness training is working hard on the farm.
It was a good experience. It was the first time doing it, so I didn't know what to expect going into it. So I didn't know if I wanted to start fast or start slow. So I just went at the same pace the whole way and ended up by getting 5 minutes, so it's pretty good.
Well, speed is nothing new for Sheldon, but he's still pretty raw when it comes to rugby and sevens.
Pretty much this year my mind started focusing more on rugby and trying to get to the top and play the best I can to make special teams, and one day I want to be an All Black or just anything special with rugby. I don't really mind, just as long as I'm playing it.
Red Bull Ignite 7 is all about trying to find the New Zealand 7 stars of the future, even if they come from completely different sports. 18-year-old star Edward Osei Nkitia can run 100 metres in under 10.2 seconds. He's a Kiwi, and while sprinting at the Tokyo Olympics is his priority, Sevens rugby is his backup plan.
You can't beat speed. It's very hard to coach. And often you'll find that the fastest person in an NFL combine, they get a contract. And it's sometimes easier to put them on the wing, teach them how to catch and pass, and they've got gas. So what we're seeing is an evolution of a sprinter who's coming to rugby, who brings both size and speed.
He's 99% fast twitch muscle fibre. I've never seen an athlete walk through our doors in rugby ever, and we never probably will see one again. So Eddie is obviously the fastest man in New Zealand. He's got speed, he's got size, he's got an attitude that's focused for high performance. One of the main reasons that we let Athletics New Zealand take him over, they've got experts in their field that can get him even faster and faster. Rugby, I don't think, gets athletes fast. We've got so many other components of the game we must concentrate on. I'm trying to learn the game, learn the people, and learn everything as rugby as possible. So one day, if possible, we can make a switch and I can be on top of the game.
Eddie is part of the Bolt team. He can't risk injury, so he'll be a water boy on game day, but he's played plenty of rugby at school.
Well, to be honest, back in Australia, I thought I was just a one-position man, or just sticking to the ring. But since it's been a long time staying in New Zealand now, I can see myself as a fullback, a centre. Pretty much, if I put my head straight, I can be a fly half too.
Eddie, I've known him before through athletics and stuff, and he's come in and we've really just embraced him in the team. He's been so funny. We call him the hype man in the van, so whenever the music gets up, he's up there dancing around, just playing around, having good fun.
After a few years in Australia, he's now moved back home and has been a student at Scots College in Wellington. His 100-metre best of 10.19 already makes him the 4th fastest Kiwi in history. He's now chasing his dad, Ghanaian-born Gus Nkitia, who holds the current New Zealand record, while his rugby ambition is to make the All Blacks Sevens.
He's born in New Zealand. He was caught up in the culture of All Blacks. He knows a lot of the All Blacks. He's watched the Sevens boys. It's the black jersey, the black singlet that has lured him back here. He's got a real passion for New Zealand.
Remarkably, his 40-metre time of a fraction over 5 seconds was bettered by 12 of the young Sevens hopefuls here at the camp. That said, none of them would have been able to have kept up with Eddie beyond that mark.
What we're seeing here with Eddie is he's got that bit extra. So he gets to that sort of 30-metre mark and he's still got the ability to go faster and maintain it. And from a Sevens perspective, getting to top speed and maintaining is pretty potent weapon.
So imagine on a field of Sevens where it's 100 metres, he's on the wing, he's got 80 to go. Guys will slow down because his max speed is able to be maintained for longer, and that's why he's so fast.
The fact, though, that our young athletes here at Red Bull Ignite 7 can stand toe-to-toe with New Zealand's fastest is a testimony to the depth of talent and athleticism coming through, with huge improvements already being recorded from last year's camp.
Oh, look, physically, it's obvious now we've got bigger athletes. We've got bigger athletes that are either running as fast or faster than previously. I think we're seeing in the Bronco as an example, there's more people running sub-5s in the men's and more people running sort of sub-520s in the women's. We've got a couple of really fast roosters out there as well. They're breaking sort of that 4.9 barrier, which is great. But I think fundamentally the biggest shift has probably been in the gym. We're seeing really strong athletes come through, and that's a byproduct of having systems in place at a provincial level and a school level that are obviously hitting the tin earlier.
Yeah, so Sevens is a growing game because of the Olympics, right? So a lot of teams are focusing a bit more of it. It's not just a summer sport for Kiwis anymore. There's actually an avenue to work towards. All their levels are coming up. Their skill, their speed, their strength is coming up much quicker than it used to. So we're getting school kids coming in that are already testing at a much higher level than they have been in the past. Even since last year, we've seen a bunch of records broken from last combine, so pretty cool, actually.
Oh, it went pretty well. It was quite fun to get on the test. I was really happy for the speed test and I did quite well in it. That's what I was going into. I was hoping I could get a really good score in there, and I did get one of the best ones, so I was really happy about it.
On the eve of game day, it was light training, working through some set-piece plays and more team bonding.
It's been great. It's a wonderful experience to be a part of, and just challenging physically and mentally, and just getting out there and having fun.
And finding new girls, like there's girls from soccer, netball, hockey, and to combine that all together is great.
Yeah, so
good
much
experience.
talent out there.
And we gave a camera to our budding TV producer, Joel Cobb. The Surge men's team choosing to do their final session at Okahu Bay. With players still recovering from a heavy testing day in the heat, it was the perfect place to unwind. Meanwhile, back at the Trust's arena in West Auckland, 17-year-old Bolt player Tiararoa Sopawanga was taking some time out to indulge in her other passion.
Yeah, basketball's been my main sport. I definitely know that my experience in sevens is like way lower compared to everybody else's. There's so many good girls who are like so experienced and know a lot about the game, and it's really cool just to learn a lot from them.
With 4 older brothers playing rugby, including All Black Lima Sopoaga, it's no surprise the Wellington schoolgirl is a multi-talented sports star.
He's one of my biggest critics that I have in all of my games, actually. Whether it's basketball, netball, rugby, he'll always tell me straight up, but it's good.
Also juggling roles at Red Bull Ignite 7 is Black Fern Salika Winiata. She's a new referee, and this tournament will help with her preparation ahead of making her debut on this season's HSBC World Rugby 7 Series.
I'm really looking forward to just seeing the talent that has been chosen, you know, throughout our country. And it's exciting to think that there's going to be players that haven't come from rugby backgrounds.
Well, her background as a 7-star and a policewoman in Palmerston North make refereeing an obvious choice. But she's not giving up rugby just yet.
I want to still be involved in the game somehow. And so for me, while the body is still able to, I thought refereeing would be the next best option for me. It's more planning ahead so that I do have something else to step into when I finally decide to give rugby up. I mean, I love playing 15s, and my goal is to make the next World Cup, which is in 2 years. My police career and reffing are very similar in the sense that, you know, there are times where you have to show your authority, but it's the way that you deliver your messages, so communication becomes very vital. You know, at the end of the day, I love playing the game, and I want to see free-flying rugby and people being able to express themselves on the field and me not having to blow the whistle that much.
Game day, and the coaches and selectors have gathered information about fitness, speed, strength, character and attitude. But realistically, selection will be defined by performance under pressure. 96 players fighting for just 6 MVP spots.
Super excited. There's so much potential here, and you know, they can look good on the training pitch, and then the pressure gets a little bit to them on the field, or they don't train like Ferraris but they play like Ferraris. So just the potential here is crazy.
So 4 women's and 4 men's teams, Bolt, Inferno, Surge and Power, all vying for a place in the final and an extra game to impress selectors. And to add to the pressure, all the round robin and finals matches are being shown live on Sky Sport.
We're on here. Hello and welcome into the Trust Arena, Waitakere, West Auckland for the 2019 Red Bull Ignite Sevens. It's great to have you joining us on this beautiful Auckland day.
As is always the way in sevens, heaps of big moments, incredible skill and athleticism, and some crackerjack tries.
A chance to go back to back, and they will, the Bolt!
The speedsters putting their hands up for selection. Manoa Nuku from Power staking her claim.
Straight through Nuku. No stopping her. Too quick. The fastest player in the competition. And Manoa Nuku gets a touch finally.
While Kaylin Takatumu Cook from Bolt was back from last year and scoring 3 tries.
You just can't give her that much room. She will take on the line every time. And Kaylin Takatumu Cook goes in early.
Grace Kukatai was in the box seat after a superb combine and character assessment, but could she back it up on the park?
Now Kukatai gets them moving forward and pots a perfect little netball chest pass into her waiting teammate who is Cook, and then gets the ball again. Kukatai, is she going to have the pace to get there? She's got no support. She'll need to hold it up, change of direction, Kukatai, and then the support is there from Sultan. What a breakout by the Surge.
So I think we were talking about in terms of being able to shift right over to the MVP side. We've already talked about Grace in terms of that, so we're happy there, eh? All of us to move Grace right over there. Outstanding in terms of work rates.
Consistency.
Yeah. Game impact. Yeah, she's going to be there. Another one we talked about in terms of Manoa, because she's not going to be playing in that final either. around her in terms of her game impact as well.
But they're not going to stop Niku, who's going to go 70-odd metres. She is electric.
But tries are not the only currency. VX Sport have had GPS and heart rate monitors on all the athletes throughout and are feeding the selectors crucial information about speeds, work rate, tackling and recovery, all of which can be compared to the bar set by our All Blacks 7s and our Blackfern 7s. So, as well as using their eyes, they can also call on accurate data to help separate the workhorses from the show ponies. Like power player Jonah Matafiwa, whose all-round strength created opportunities.
Good strong running in the middle. Outstanding. They'll recycle on the 7-metre line, the pick and go. They've got a 2-on-1 draw and pass. And it is Lameki Namor.
Or Surge captain Rennie Holmes, who was everywhere and tracked back to make crucial tackles.
Great covering tackle, though, coming across by Holmes.
Meanwhile, in the men's draw, dairy farmer Sheldon Himana made his family proud with a good finish against Bolt.
And it's going to be Himana.
Elsewhere, Oscar Schmidt-Wheatley backed up his combine and proved just how useful his height and speed are.
It is Oscar Schmidt-Wheatley.
While King's College 16-year-old Chicago Doyle confirmed his credentials as a star of the future.
Doyle with some skill and some pace and some confidence from a standing start.
And TV trainee Joel Cobb was hugely impressive, scoring 3 tries in a Surge team who ended up with just 1 win from their 3 games.
Strong running, and he's been a standout, the captain, Joel Cobb.
Joel had more tasks throughout this whole tournament, didn't he?
Yeah.
He defended, he supported, he ran well, he scored a couple good tries, and he did the little 1%ers a lot better. His support play was really good and his defence is really good.
Will come finals time and most of the MVPs look to be in place, but standout performances from key players gave the selectors even more headaches. Lameki Namor made it 4 tries for the tournament.
And Namor gets a double.
As did Roderick Solo for the eventual winners Inferno.
Solo away from 2 defenders, going to take them on the outside. Roderick Solo.
While teenager Kitiona Vai showed why he's rated as one of our best 7s prospects. But would it be enough?
And now comfortably, good shift, Kitiona Vai.
Any movement? Any movement, gentlemen, with where we were at from the last round?
If you're talking All Black 7s, he'll be up there.
Yeah.
Can't coach quick.
He's clearly had an influence in a final, a significant influence. Has he had more influence than Joel Cobb?
Yeah.
These 3 could go on and become Olympic gold medalists for New Zealand in the 7s. No, I think that's a good 3.
It's good 3.
I think we're happy with that. Those 3 there.
Yeah, go to the original 3.
Joel, Roderick and Jonah. Remembering that our MVP, it's a snapshot award of what's happened over the course of the week.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the women's final, Isla Norma Bell's Inferno smashed Bolt 33-5. And as one of the main architects of the victory, she made it hard for selectors to leave her out.
And that's why I think that, that goes there. Unfortunately for Mania, she moves back into this group here, and then we're happy with that. Yeah. In terms of tough on her. Lock it in.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for, isn't it? The ones that will get an opportunity to train with the All Blacks 7s men's and the Blackfern 7s women's. 3 men and 3 women. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our first woman, Grace Kukutai. Number 2, Renee Holmes. And our 3rd woman selected, Isla Norman Bell. Moving on to the men now. First one up, Joel Cobb. Roderick Solo and Jonah Matafiwa.
I'm just like really emotional. Just like a really big decision for me to give sevens a go and give up netball. So I'm just grateful for the help I've had on my rugby journey and excited for the future. Yeah, kind of just feels like it's all paid off. Yeah, and it's just the beginning, I know, but it's exciting. Like, I'm happy. It's like happy tears. But yeah, I've loved this week. It's been such a great opportunity for me to give sevens a proper go and see what it's like in New Zealand rugby environment.
I'm so proud of you. You did it. You wanted to do it and you've done it. It's massive. It's awesome. You excited? Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Very special moment. Like, we're rooming together. So, and captain and vice captain put together, hearing her name, I was just so proud and stoked for her. And then for my name to follow was, what? 2 girls from Surd, really? Definitely just real special that we've got that bond together now, and in the same boat we can go into it with a strong friendship, which will be really cool. Yeah,
it's been a cool experience. I've made so many friends now that I'll probably keep for life, and it's pretty cool just being put into a team full of random people, and we've really grown a lot, and the results don't really show that. You know, they don't see what happened behind the scenes and everything, and everyone's gotten real close, and it's been such a cool journey.
I was shocked. I didn't expect it. But yeah, obviously very excited to go to a Black Ferns sevens camp. And I'd love to go to the Olympics and win a gold medal. That's always been my ultimate goal. So hopefully one day that will happen.
You know, if we can have this type of event for the next 2 or 3 years, the talent's starting to come through in both the teams will be huge, because you get to see them play sevens. You know, especially in the men's game, the players all play 15s. There's some guys that are unbelievable on their feet and can break the line, and then guys that can back up and finish. So that's really encouraging. You know, the conditioning part for us is easy. If they've got a good attitude, then they'll get fitter. The one thing we can't necessarily really improve is that speed. So to see that was really exciting.
It's a pathway. It's a pathway to develop really good people and really good rugby players. End of the day, we want to create men and women who go and play for their provinces, play for their Super Rugby franchises, and play for the All Blacks or the Black Ferns. And I think we're making our mark.
So here's confirmation of the 6 MVPs chosen for the All Blacks Sevens and Black Ferns Sevens development camps. From the left, Isla Norma Bell, Grace Kukatai, Renee Holmes, Joel Cobb, Roderick Solo, and Jonah Matafiwa. Also celebrating both the men's and women's Inferno teams, who were crowned champions at this year's event. But there were no real losers. Exposure to a variety of selectors and live TV mean the performances of many will not have gone unnoticed. Not to mention the education, training and friendships this crop of 96 athletes would have taken from Red Bull Ignite 7 2019.